G'day mate, my name's Ryde, your coffee coach, and today I want to take a look at Fellows Espresso Series 1. So let's take a look. G'day mate, my name's Ryde, your coffee coach, and today I'm going to give you my first impressions on Fellow's latest foray into the espresso realm called Espresso Series 1. Now, I love Fellow. I love all of their designs. I have their kettles, I have their grinders, scales. I love their minimalist approach to things, and their design is from San Francisco. That's where their headquarters are, and you can really feel that sleek, luxury, upper echelons of the espresso world. Now they're bringing out their latest espresso machine called the Fellow Espresso Series 1, and it looks to be, on the surface, amazing. The $1,200, and that's the pre-order price. The retail price is $1,500, but still super cheap. That's US, and in Australia it's probably going to be about $3,000. But an espresso machine is not quite like a grinder or a kettle or anything like that. It's its own complete beast. And with so many manufacturers bringing out espresso machines for the home baristas all the time now, it's hard to be competitive. So what sets them apart from everyone else? Well, for starters, the minimalist approach here, people are going to love. There's a lot of machines on the market which have fandangled things all over the place, levers, big screens, and grinders built in, tampers built in, everything. They've gone the opposite direction. There's no grinder built into this, and they've really honed in on that minimalist design. A little bit boxy for my liking, and you know, I'm not a huge fan of Synesso's ES1, which, snap, that's the same name, ES1, Espresso Series 1. I wonder if there's any connection there. Probably not. But I'm not a huge fan of the blockiness of it. However, this is much smaller than the ES1 from Synesso. It's not 500 by 500 by 500. It's only about a ruler length tall. It's about 11 inches tall, 28 centimeters. It's not that much wider, and it's not that much deeper either. It is quite tight, and that's because it doesn't have a full dual boiler system or a big heat exchange boiler in there. It's got a really tiny boiler and a few other ways, which they call a boiler booster, 3 other heaters to help boost the temperature up. So it can get up to temperature in about 2 minutes. And actually, they say 90 seconds, so even faster than 2 minutes. But I haven't seen this in real life, so maybe in real life it looks a lot sexier. And I do like the color combos that they've got in there. It comes in a red with a walnut timber handle, comes in called a malt chocolate with a maple handle, and then your traditional matte black. Everything's black. They do look very nice, and I have the kettle, which is in matte black metal, and it just does look beautiful. Very sleek, very luxurious, and I think a feature for anyone's kitchen. Across the top, you've got 3 little piano keys. There's a brew one, a steam one, and it also has a water distribution button as well. So if you want to make your Americanos or your teas or anything like that, you can. And they say there's enough tech in the machine to basically completely replace the Fellow Aiden, which is a completely separate brewer for your coffee maker style coffees. So you don't need that anymore. You can just use this, which is fantastic. Not another piece of equipment sitting on your bench top. Also, you can just use it as a kettle. It's pretty quick. I like those machines that have the option to do the water as well, because I drink long blacks, Americanos, you call them. So I really appreciate when manufacturers include the water into the machine as well. Now, the one downside, and a lot of people have been complaining about this, is that it's a plastic shell. It's not actually a metal. However, I've got the X Bloom Studio, and they downgraded their materials from their original X Bloom from that stainless steel aluminum shell down to the plastic. And I have to say, I don't mind at all. Like, if it's done right, it can look really exquisite. So I'm hoping, and if anyone's seen any in real life, you can let us know whether you think it still looks really good in real life with the plastic shell, or if you think they needed to upgrade it to stainless steel or aluminum. But having said that, the price point of this machine is so low that I don't think you could afford to put in there stainless steel or other materials, those premium materials, if you want to keep that price point down. So that's probably why they've gone with some of these plastic parts. It's all food grade plastic as well, so it's safe. You don't have to worry about it. contaminating your water or your espresso. So I think that's probably why they've gone with plastic on the outer shell. Now, on the front, you'll notice a lovely large LCD, which shows you all the controls, and they've brought back the dial from the kettles and from the other models of scales and from the fellow Aiden. I love that. That's their feature. That's their signature, that the dial is used as a crank. Everything to control all of the display, everything you want to, from the flow control to the pressure control to the PID of the temperature, for the steam, pressure, all of that is all controlled in that front dial. There's also an app as well, which make it slightly easier to control it. And they're saying they're doing constant updates. So down the track, that will be even more advanced. One other thing that I know that Fellow always like to do is put a little Easter egg into their equipment. There is the Easter egg of the snake game in the Fellow's kettle, and I reckon there's one in here. I really want to know what it is. If any of you guys have figured it out, let me know in the comment section below. Or if Fellow, if you're watching this, please let me get my hands on one of these machines, because I'd love to discover that Easter egg and also do a full deep dive review on it, of course. And also, while I get accused of doing advertorials, you might as well pay me. I'm not getting paid for this advert, even though I love talking about coffee and tech and I'm passionate about it. Okay, so let's talk about the tech on the inside of the machine. Firstly, the boiler tech. So it's a very small boiler, but it also has other ways to preheat the water. So you're not waiting 10 to 15 minutes for the water to boil up. This has what's called a thick film heater, which preheats the water that goes into the boiler. And then from there, the boiler water gets protruded up through to the group head, which saturates the group head and makes sure that your portafilter is ready to go in 90 seconds, they reckon. So that's fantastically fast. And not only that, it also keeps the thermal stability of your shot during the extraction really, really tight. So you can set that temperature, whether you're doing a light roast or a dark roast, to whatever you need it to be, exactly that precise temperature. And then you know that your extraction is going to hit that temperature all the way from start to end, as well as your next shot and your shot after that. Now, because it technically is a single boiler, unlike a heat exchange or a dual boiler, you can't do milk and your extraction simultaneously. However, because of the technology and this 3-boiler sort of booster system, they actually say that the time between steaming and extraction, and then going from extraction to steam, steam to extraction again, is instantaneous. So you're not waiting around like a normal single boiler. You're waiting around like a minute, maybe 2 minutes for it to go back up to the temperature for you can steam, and then to drop. It's even longer because it's got to cool down. That takes such a long time. Then it almost like a couple of minutes. This is instantaneous. I believe it's instantaneous. They're saying it is. I haven't played on it, but we'll see. And that would make anyone who's making coffees the ability to do back-to-back coffees, lattes, cappuccinos, flat whites, all of those really, really quickly. I think that's really exciting, and I really hope, I said really a lot of times, and I really hope that it's true. And the Steam one excites me as well, because I have the Meraki espresso machine, and the Steam one looks exactly the same. I'm thinking that the OEM company that designed these and built these Steam ones is the same one. And if that's the case, this Steam one is a game changer. I haven't used a Steam one like it. On first look, I didn't love how thick and chunky it was and the big bulbous head at the end, but that's because there's a temperature probe right on the tip there. And if it's like the Meraki one, it's an auto steamer, which means you plonk it in and you steam your milk, set the temperature that you desired. So let's say you want to have a nice hot 70 degrees temperature milk latte. Then you just plonk it down, walk away, hands-free, go do something else, whatever you want to do, and come back. I love the convenience of that. And what's also exciting is that if this is the same Steam one, it makes silky, silky, fluffy, better milk than 99.9% of anyone out there who's in a professional or consumer barista role, and it delivers it so easily. All you need to do is put the milk jug in there, set it down, set your temperature, and go away. Now, some of the people I've heard complain about that the Steam one is a bit weak and that it takes a minute, but it's hands-free, guys. There's so many things you can do in a minute with your hands that you don't need to worry about steaming the milk. And for you young fellas out there, that's all you need, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah. And also, if your hands are free right now, please click subscribe, hit that like button. Thanks a lot, champion. And also drop me a comment below. Let me know whether you think that this Steam one looks nice, because I wasn't a big fan of the look when I first saw it. However, I'm a huge fan of the convenience, and I would use this steam wand over pretty much any of the other steam wands that I have, even if it's a little bit weaker. Just because the convenience of having silky milk, perfect for latte art, like unbelievably silky, and you don't have to do anything. I also like the additional convenience of the feedback for newbie users on the grind coarseness. So when you make a shot, it will actually tell you it's running too fine, and then you need to adjust your grinder coarser, or if saying it's running too quickly and you need to make it finer. That's really useful for newbies. However, with the addition of all the other tech advancements with the flow control and the pressure profiling, I'm not sure if it has the ability to recognize whether you're doing a turbo shot or an espresso blooming ones, which can take up to 2 minutes plus, and recognize that, oh, that's not your shot, that's actually intentional. If someone can confirm that, that'd be great. And this is where the real tech lies, because the ability to manipulate the pressure profile and the flow profile is fantastic. I think for newbies, you're not going to want to play with that. It's preset profiles on the machine already, so you can just press the button and you can go away and just start using your machine straight out of the box. However, for other people who want to push their espresso knowledge to the limits, the pressure profiling, the flow profiling features, that means you can have pre-infusion times, you can have ramp up, you can have ramp down, you can have the puck flow much quicker than normal, so you can really quickly do that pre-infusion, get that flow profile down to the exact one that you want. If you're playing around with lighter roasts, you want a faster flow rate. If you're playing around with darker traditional ones, you want to slow that flow rate right down. All of those parameters, being able to manipulate them with the app, and they're saying it starts with all of that, but there's going to be more and more and more in the future. But the ability to manipulate that, save your profile, set it in the machine for later, send it around the world, and share it with other people in the community is fantastic. And the community is definitely where this needs to happen. Decent Espresso started this years and years ago. They created the app which you could share their profile with the community, and that really helps people getting into espresso, especially these advanced techniques, understand what they're looking for. It's no good getting a machine with all the features in it and you have no idea. It can be quite overwhelming because you're like, I don't know, I'll just press that button and I don't know, is this supposed to taste good? It tastes crap. Am I supposed to learn to like this, or is this just wrong? Having the community there to share profiles, to say, this is what the coffee I made, this is how it tasted, and this is what the profile looked like, is unbelievably helpful for anyone, no matter what stage of espresso you're at, because we're all trying to push the boundaries of what we understand and know about espresso, and you can't do that if you're siloed off in your own little dungeon making coffees by yourself. However, the community is going to be small to start with because they're only releasing it in the US. It's only 110, 120 volts, and they haven't released a date for the 240, 220 volt version. So that means US is the first place they're going to start, which might be useful. I don't know how the tariffs are going to affect this price because Fellow is based in San Francisco, and I think they have another one in LA. They are going to obviously be selling them, distributing from the US, so maybe they've already factored in how much it takes and how much it costs with the tariffs to be brought into the US and then distributed from there. I'm not sure, but I assume that's what's happening. The shipping on the site says only $75, and I would hate to think that you get it at customs and that get told you've got a 54% tax to pay on top of that. So fingers crossed, you don't have to do that. But I'm really excited for the rest of the world to get it because this is where the power is. It's in the people. The people who get into this machine, who start experimenting with it, who start pulling it apart, picking it apart, doing everything they can to push the boundaries of it, and sharing that back into the community for others to learn and grow from. That's where the power is. When is it going to be launched? They're saying winter 2025, which brings it to the end of this year. And that means that I think it might be released around Host Milano, which is the end of October, which I'm going to. So if you see me there, please come and say hi. I love chatting with everyone. So if you see me wandering around, don't be afraid. I'm not going to bite you. I love chatting. I love talking about coffee. I'll see you there, but that's later on in this year, and I have a feeling they'll officially launch it at that because a lot of companies tend to do their biggest launch at Host Milano, which only happens every 2 years. I'm super excited. Fellow, I said before, please get hold of me. I'd love to get hold of one of these machines. I know I'm in Australia. I know we have 240 volts, doesn't matter. I've got a step down transformer that can do all the American machines. So please reach out to me. I wanted to get my hands on this so I can do better reviews on this in the future. And I think this is going to be really good for the market because it's really well priced at that appliance end, but with the amount of tech and with the luxurious look of this machine, I think people are going to flock to this. So I'm really excited to see what it does. I really think it's going to compete with the Breville, the Barista Express, and that end of the market. Yes, it doesn't have a built-in grinder. No worries. Fellow also have a grinder, which I did a review on. It's called the Fellow Opus. You can check that out up here. But I think this is really going to be competitive in the espresso world. If everything I'm looking at is true and the seamlessness of the app integration, the profiling, everything like that, I love the look of this machine. I can't wait to get my hands on one. Anyway, until I see you in Milano, I'm Ryde. I hope you enjoy these videos. And as always, enjoy your brew.